G'day and welcome to the Spearo podcast. Today is episode 53 with none other than Kiwi and Yellowtail Kingfish world record holder Nat Davy. Nat recently shot the Yellowtail Kingfish record at 50.6 kgs, an absolutely massive fish. And Nat spends over 200 days a year in the water. He's an ex-commercial fisherman and he knows a thing or two about hunting fish. This is a great episode with some great insights into how to claim world records. So a really good thing to listen to, because one day you might just be lucky enough to get that really big fish and you may just need that knowledge. He shares some absolutely fantastic tips in spearfishing in general, and we thank Nat for talking with us, and it's an absolutely great episode. Now, moving along, just a couple of shout-outs before we get stuck in. I just want to say thanks to Ted Hardy, mate. Some of those pics that you supplied for the book look absolutely fantastic, so thank you very much. And to Jesse Cripps, thank you as well for providing us with a few pics to go in the 99 Tips to Get Better at Spearfishing book. They're looking absolutely fantastic. And if you'd like to follow Jessie and her partner Michael, they have a little production company called Underwater Ally, and you can support those guys on Patreon. If you go onto YouTube, you can look up a few of their videos. They're over in Tonga. They're shooting some amazing fish. It's absolutely some amazing footage of those guys swimming with sailfish and hunting wahoo, and it's really well narrated, and they're really great videos. And so get on, check those out, support those guys on Patreon. Love what they're doing. So without further ado, let's get stuck into today's episode with Nat Davy. Big thank you to our sponsor, Adreno Spearfishing Supplies. You can find Adreno in Brisbane, Sydney and Melbourne. They are one of the biggest and best spearfishing stores in the world and stock a full range of spearfishing gear, more than you could ever imagine. So check them out in store, or if you prefer to shop online, check them out at spearfishing.com.au. And do yourself a favour, at checkout, use the code NoobSpearo to save yourself $20 on all purchases over $200. So that is spearfishing.com.au and use the code NoobSpearo at checkout.
Guys, today's show is not only brought to you with our partner spearfishing.com.au, it's brought to you by our brand new ebook available on Amazon. Turbo, what's the thing called again?
It's called 99 Tips to Get Better at Spearfishing.
Why is it called 99 Tips to Get Better at Spearfishing?
Because it's got 99 tips in there to help you get better at spearfishing.
I thought you said there was way more than 99.
Well, there's 99 official tips, but each tip can be broken down into several tips.
So it's like tips and tips and...
Oh, it's tips on tips.
A multiplication of tips. Mate. Just actionable information.
Oh, you can put it straight into action. That's the best thing about it. It should have been called 99 actionable tips to get better at spearfishing. Oh. But because we were paying per letter on the cover, we just went with 99 tips to get better at spearfishing.
All right, guys, available on Amazon.com. Thanks for joining us today on the Noob Spearo podcast. So, g'day Noob Spearo listeners. Today we are joined by Nat Davy. He's actually the current world record holder for Yellowtail Kingfish, and he's actually knocked over a few records in his time in the sport. He's retired now from commercial fishing. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, Nat. Welcome to the Noob Spearo podcast.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Very well, mate. Why don't you've been doing this for a while? Why don't you tell us how you got started in the sport, and how and where?
Yeah, so I've been diving since I was 9 or 10, but never really got into the spearfishing side of things. And sort of when I was commercial fishing, we were visiting some pretty cool places in New Zealand, and it was sort of pretty cool to be able to jump in the water and enjoy what there was. So we decided I'd just get into it and give it a whirl, and was lucky enough to start on the bigger end, shooting a few kingfish and getting a few snapper and then lucky enough to meet a lady that was really good at it, and she sort of pushed me in the right direction and sorted me out with some decent gear, and it's all gone from there. Yeah,
nice. So who's your lady, and where did you start?
So my partner's Rochelle Potter.
Okay.
And she's shot a fair few more records than I have.
Yeah.
And we just enjoyed diving together, and we dive a couple of 100 days a year and just love it.
So Rochelle shot a woman's world record recently. Was that an Ascension? Was that a yellowfin?
Yellowfin tuna. Yeah, she got one there, 97.1 kilos, and
Oh.
She holds the women's striped marlin record as well, and
Wow.
and the yellowtail kingfish. So she's and there's a few more as well. So she's very talented at what she does.
Oh, cool. How big was her yellowtail, just out of curiosity?
48.8 kilos.
Well, that's not going to get beaten by a while. That's nearly as big as the open record which you hold.
Well, mine's still pending at the moment, but it's I think the fourth biggest yellowtail ever shot in the world. So, it's first woman to shoot one over 100 pound, and she'd been working on it for a while, but it was pretty cool experience being there with her the day she got it. So
that's really cool. So what part of New Zealand did you get started spearfishing in? Were you always up there near the sort of the Auckland area?
No, so we're north of Auckland, about 3 hours north of Auckland, up in the Bay of Islands. So I was born and bred there, and that's where my commercial business is based out of. So pretty much the top half of New Zealand is where I started being in the water, and it's just sort of gone from there.
It's a good part of the world to be in by the looks of it. There's some nice fish taken around there, but you do a fair bit of travelling. We spoke to Niall Cameron earlier, and or a little while ago, and we learned that you guys were together over on Ascension Island. Sounds like you've done a fair bit of travel.
Yeah, we have. We were lucky enough to be able to go to Ascension, and we had just a field day over there. But we've done a lot of the Pacific, and we enjoy heading up to Rarotonga each year, and staying up in Arataki and spend 2 weeks to a month up there each year, and just shore diving and just shooting fish for the locals, and just enjoying what we can do. So it's just a lot of fun.
You got started up there, and you started targeting kingfish and snapper pretty early on. What obstacles did you encounter, and how did you overcome them?
It's quite a hard case with when I started diving. It was actually I was more of a tank diver, and actually when you start getting into the free diving side of things, holding your breath, swimming around with a spear gun, it's just getting over that thing where I used to be able to breathe underwater. Now you can't. So your dive's a lot shorter. But in some ways that helped as well. You actually learned a lot of different terrain where the fish were when you're spending that extra time under the water. And it took a while, but I sort of I've got it pretty covered now, I think.
Yeah. Well, how did you approach that? So was it just time in the water, or did you go to a freediving course?
No. So it is time in the water. I did go and do a few depth courses in Auckland through the Auckland Freedive Club, and pushed myself there, and managed to get down to 50 metres and back up. That was a bonus. But it's and just talking to some of the better Spearos, so we've got some fantastic Spearos here in New Zealand, and they are all willing to lend a bit of advice, and all of that helps. So it's sort of it's nice now that some of the younger guys come to me and ask me the same sort of things as I was asking some of our better Spearos a few years ago.
Nice.
Who were your mentors? Did you have any mentors when you started?
No, not really, because I didn't sort of hang around the clubs or and that. So I suppose I got my first lot of gear off Darren Shields and went from there and just spent a lot of time in the water and learnt what gear suits me, and lucky enough to be picked up by a sponsor now, and it's just pretty cool. So
Bochet is your sponsor, is that right?
Yeah. Bochet New Zealand sponsors me, and my partner Rochelle, and we're
nice.
Grateful to them. So it's cool.
We had another guy who sponsored, and he came on the show a while ago, Dwayne Herbert, and he's a top man as well.
Dwayne's our best diver we've got in the country, and he's just phenomenal. He's up here in a few days, so we've
cool. Officially he's the best guy we've got in our country as well.
2 years in a row.
He took out the Aussies this year or last year, and another guy we spoke to earlier, Daniel Byrne. He's a guy from San Diego, and he was over in New Zealand doing a bit of an adventure. He spoke very highly of you. He had a lot of regard for you.
A bit of time for Dan and Adventure Man Dan. And, and that, I never actually got to have a swim with him, but he loves life. And
Yeah.
and there's not there's not many people like him that have just thrown it to the wall and just gone out there and just said, stuff it, I'm going to go and see the world and do what I enjoy doing. And we've got a bit in common there about that sort of thing. And no, he's a nice dude.
He had high regard for you. I think you were one of the early ones to reach out to him when he started his spearfishing adventure in New Zealand, and he was still very appreciative of it, even though you guys didn't get to dive together. You helped him out a bit, I think, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I tried to send him in the right direction when he got over here, and he shot some great fish while he was here, and it was a shame we didn't get to swim together. So he
had a ball by the sounds of it. No, that's awesome. All right, so we've heard a little bit about your challenges and your background. We even talked a bit about your motivation, where that came from. I mean, let's go to memorable fish. Yeah. So maybe one of the most memorable fish you've taken in your spearfishing history. Where was that, and what sort of fish was it? You've had a few.
Yeah, no, I've had a few. To be honest with you, like I've been lucky to shoot the fish I have. Some of the more memorable moments when I've actually been spearfishing has been the fish that my partner shot with me.
Okay.
And yeah, I've shot 30-pound snappers, and wow. I've first person to shoot a 50-kilo kingfish. It's amazing, but when you're actually with somebody else and they shoot that trophy fish that they've dreamed about for years, that is actually more memorable to me than the fish I shoot. So, and I've been lucky enough in quite a few occasions to shoot, to be with Rochelle when she's shot her world records, and it's the effort you go to is pretty full on. So it's been great.
So when Rochelle shot her big kingfish, what was that day like? Can you sort of take us there to the scene of the crime?
Yeah, yep. So it was. It's a well-known spot up the Three Kings, and it holds big kingfish. She'd been trying for 2 days, swimming against the current. It's an area where there's a lot of tide, big face there, and the tide hits it hard, 2 to 3 knots of current, and she'd just been drifting back and forward, and I'd pick her up and drop her off again, and then she'd do it, and finally the school of kingfish come in, and she shot the one she was after, and towed her through a gap, and I managed to get there. I just kept beside her the whole time, and passed her a second gun, and once she'd loaded that and shot the fish, it was we were pretty stoked, and it was a 26-hour trip back to the weigh station for us. It was the fish she'd been dreaming of for years. She'd come so close to the woman's world record on 4 occasions, I think, within a kilo, and then to be at 12 kilos was just crazy.
That sounds like the spot I would love to shoot a kingfish over 30 kilo. Would be good.
I don't know. When we're going diving, I feel like real special when you shoot those mowies up around 2 kilos. It's a fish of your life, and I just get pumped when I see you do it.
Just a real.
Good. As a dive buddy, I just
for my
swell
level,
with joy.
That is a good fish. He's right.
Yeah.
So
just hitting those 5 metre marks.
You guys will have to come over, and we'll show you a bit of New Zealand.
Yeah, keen as mustard. Love to do it. All right, next section of the show is called hunting technique. So, I mean, obviously this is quite a species-specific sort of question, but what's your favourite hunting technique to use, and how do you apply it effectively? How would you teach someone else to use it effectively?
Like in New Zealand, your kingfish are on structure generally. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's a weed line on the sand, whatever. There's nothing. I think that there's a lot special about hunting kingfish. You're in the right place at the right time when they swim through. But our snapper in New Zealand, you guys that get the snapper there in Aussie too, and when it comes to hunting snapper, there's a fair bit of art to it, and the best advice I can give anybody is just to slow down and just check the terrain out. You've just got to check over every ledge. You've just got to take it real easy, quiet, keep the sun behind you is the best thing, and eventually it'll pay off.
Okay. So hang on, sun behind you. Wouldn't you so you're casting a shadow? You're trying not to cast a shadow. Is that essentially what the sun?
No. So you want to keep the sun behind you.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you're swimming a stretch of coast, go towards the sun before you hop in the water, and then swim that length of coast. So if the fish is looking up, which they generally are when they're sitting in a gutter or something like that, they've got the sun in their eyes looking at you, and yeah, every now and then your shadow will fall right on top of them, which may spook them. But 9 out of 10 times, it's not going to look any different than a piece of weed drifting over top of the rock and back and forward with the swell.
So, all right. Nice. So you got this. So you got the sun in their eyes, and then in that fish is down there, straight drop onto them.
Yeah, every fish is different. Like a lot of our fish that we snoop, you just literally. You're lucky, you're in the right spot at the right time, and he's right below you. A lot of the time they'll only be a foot or so below you, so you're just stretching your gun out, and you're shooting them. 9 out of 10 times they're asleep or that, and that. But I enjoy burling for them too, because you can actually, when you've got them on a burley, so you find the ledge where you want to, where you think they're going to be living on a normal day, and then set your burley up at the bottom, bunch of kinners or sea urchins, and I generally set up 2 or 3. And then just go back and check them each time. That way you actually get to interact with the fish. You can actually sit there and watch what they're doing. And some days, you'll see half a dozen really big fish, and you won't bother shooting one because you're just actually learning what they're doing and how they're interacting with other fish. And it's not all the time about shooting them, but it's just actually watching what they're doing. The more you watch them before you pull the trigger, the more you learn for next time.
Yeah, right. You're saying that they're often just a metre below you. Are we talking? How shallow do you find snapper? For
the biggest snapper I've shot, 15.2 kilos. I was in 2 metres of water when I shot it. It might have been sitting in 3. So I had a burley set up and peered over the ledge, and it was there. And it was unlucky, and I was lucky I was in the right spot. I'd set the burley up in the right spot. But a good depth that we find, sort of around the 8 to 10 metre mark, holds a lot of fish.
Yep.
I've shot them as deep as 30. They live out to 200, but it's if you can be in an area where the food is and where they're hanging around, you're on the right start.
So with burley, you identified that the age-old Kiwi trick of smashing up some kinner on the ground. Do you always burley like a ground bait, or do you burley from the surface as well, like fish or something else?
No. So like normally with the age-old kinner burley, sometimes you'll see a gut, or you'll know where a gut is because you've swum that bit of coast before. That generally holds good fish, and I've found you can just grab 10 or so kinners and lob them in the air over into that gut. Give it a couple of minutes and then go and check it out, and it sort of brought all the other snapper that might have been in the gut that you might have spooked. And that, they're actually all there having a feed, and they don't even know you're there when you go and peer over, and you can pick the biggest one or the one you want to shoot.
Yeah, okay, cool. All right, that was a really good spearfishing hunting technique section. I really enjoyed that. That was some good insights. Our next part of the show is called Toughest Situations. So, I imagine with your years on the ocean, you've had some scary things happen to you. What sort of what transpired, and what would you possibly do different, or what did you learn from the situation that you'd maybe do differently next time?
I suppose the toughest ones is getting over your own fears. We've all sat there and watched Jaws, and you always think, one day you're going to see a great white, and when it does happen, you actually have to push yourself through it, and the first one that I got to see, we were actually filming a TV program, and the boat had gone and anchored out about 1 kilometre from where I was, and I bumped into it a long way from the boat, and it sort of took a while to calm myself down to start to swim back to the boat, and then happened to bump into it again when we were at the boat. I'd been filming for a few hours already, and the batteries had gone flat, so I didn't get the footage that we were so desperately wanting. But to do
Murphy's Law.
to see it twice and to give it a good prod at that, and yeah. But so the second one I saw, I was actually a lot more calmer, and it made things a bit easier, and I got to actually enjoy the situation a lot more, and got the pleasure of swimming with a big female for 10 minutes a couple of months ago.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow. Whereabouts was that?
That one was at the Three Kings, the second one. The first one down at East Cape, New Zealand there.
We've talked to a few people in Kiwi spearfishing lately, and it sounds like you guys are seeing more great whites now than in previous years. Is that your kind of conception?
Yeah. So like with being an ex-commercial fisherman, we caught quite a few in our earlier days, and we've got a few trophies. Now with not being able to take them, there is more and more out there, and not just so much the great whites. There's actually a lot more sharks around in New Zealand these days, and we can see them here swimming along the beach from home on most days. But yeah, the great whites are definitely starting to increase, and all over the world from what I'm understanding. So we're just quite lucky over here that obviously Kiwis taste pretty bad because we don't get eaten like the Aussies do.
It's only surfers they like, though, by the looks of it, although that bull shark with the bloke the other day looked pretty interesting, but the bull shark looked pretty poor, so I don't know.
Yeah.
What are some of your other insights from commercial fishing over the years, observation-wise, and particularly in New Zealand fishing? What are some of the big changes you've seen over the years to the ocean environment in general?
So it's quite interesting. When I got into the commercial fishing 20 years ago, the easiest one to talk about is the sharks, for instance. There was a huge market in the finning side of things, and the sharks got decimated. But they were worth money. It was brought into quota. We as a group, as commercial fishermen, thought it was going to be sustainable. Our biggest airline, Air New Zealand, said we're not going to take fins anymore once it all got a bit political with Greenpeace and that. And so now the sharks don't get killed. And within 5 years, they have just skyrocketed. And that where, some of the other parts of the fishery in New Zealand have taken big knocks. And to be honest with you, it's not just all the commercial fishermen. So we've got a lot of recreational guys out there these days, and I've killed more fish than most countries would have killed. But it's we've all got to take a bit of blame for it, and that's why I enjoy now being able to go and hop in the water and watch the fish and take one for a feed or a couple for a feed and sit there and film the rest, and that's sort of the next part in my journey, really.
So would you call yourself a trophy hunter now, or would you just call yourself a far more selective spear fisherman?
No, I'm a far more selective spear fisherman. If I was a pure trophy hunter, I would be travelling the world chasing the records. The luxury that I have is that I spend a lot of time in the water. Up to 200 days a year, and you bump into the right fish at the right time every now and then, and you get lucky. The minute you put that effort into trophy hunting, it can take a lot of fun out of it, especially if you don't get the fish you're after. So we enjoy the holiday. We enjoy the checking out the new ground, the new area, and if the trophy comes along, it's fantastic. If it doesn't, that's part of the experience as well, and it definitely doesn't deteriorate from that whole experience. So,
yeah, cool. So you like having a good time with the people you're travelling with as well, by the sounds of it. Some of the other guests we've had have known you and dived with you as well. So yeah, I think that's part of it. If you can enjoy the people you're with and the experience for what it is, regardless of whether you get fish or not. So it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I enjoy watching other guys shooting fish now, and we've actually got a bunch of Aussies here at the moment getting ready for our nationals, and took some couple of juniors out the other day, and one of the young fellas shot his first snapper, and it was a whisker under 20 pound, and he was just, he sort of set the bar a bit high now. It's all downhill. but just the elation on their face was pretty cool.
Guys, if you're looking to improve your freediving and spearfishing, a good set of fins is pretty much mandatory. And the best fins going, in our opinion, are the penetrator fins. So get online, get on to penetratorfins.com and check out the full range there of composites and carbon fibre fins. Composites are tough as nails. They're a fantastic fin, and the carbon fibres are the most reactive fin going. We absolutely love them. Can't kill them either. Had them for years. They're still going strong. And the best thing about this is now we have a code for you guys. So if you pump in Noob Spearo at checkout, you'll save yourself $20 on a set of these great fins. Add to that, we now can offer you $25 flat rate shipping internationally. That is absolutely fantastic, and a full international warranty from penetratorfins.com. So there's no reason not to get in and get yourself one of the most important pieces of spearfishing equipment. That is a good set of carbon or composite blades. So get in there now, check out all the great designs, and get yourself a set of Penetrator blades.
Next part of the show is called Veterans Vault, and I've kind of organised it with you, but we wanted to talk about claiming world records or claiming your national records, the sort of the process behind that, and because you've got a pending world record in for the Yellowtail Kingfish over 50 kilos. I just wanted to walk through some of the errors that people make when they try to claim records, and sort of you shared some interesting insights with us before the show. I'd like to sort of capture that in the section. So what records have you claimed, and sort of what have you learned along the way?
Okay, so my first world record claim was a striped marlin, 138 kilos, and we had a few world records on that one trip. So we got to learn really quickly about the right way to do things. So my partner had a world record, and our friend shot the first striped marlin with a pole spear. So when we got back in and that, we had all the rules with us, and that's the most important thing. Like, just download the rules, right? Read through them, and with the rules are black and white. You know, you can't cheat them. There's no point cheating them. All you're doing is cheating yourself, and you're cheating someone else that actually held the record before you. So once you know the rules, you just stick by them and do what it says. You know, when it says take this measurement, you take that measurement, and it's all pretty self-explanatory, really.
Okay. So with your pending Kingfish record, just walk us through. I know we've said to download the rules, but even just practically, what measurements did you take on that fish? How did you? And you said you went to a certified weighmaster. How did that process work? So you got back to shore in the boat. Was that fish on ice?
Yep. So that fish was on ice. So I'd shot it on New Year's Eve, and we waded in on the evening of the first. And the thing is with world records, national records, you only have to weigh them in on a set of certified scales. It's pretty simple. But to do things the best you possibly can, to make it easier for the guys that are going to judge your fish, go to a certified weighmaster.
Okay.
We're lucky here in New Zealand. The top half of the North Island, every 50 kilometres down the coast, has a game fish club, and that where you can just go and weigh the fish, and the guys are trained. They sign their name to it, and they know exactly what they're doing as well for records. So anyway, we got back in, took the fish to the Doubtless Bay Game Fish Club. We weighed it in there on their set of certified scales. We realised that it was a record. Knew what the record was, and we took all the measurements. So you've got to take a length measurement of the fish to the V of the tail, plus the overall length. So if you draw a straight line between the two tips of the tail fins, then you take a girth measurement around the widest point. Okay. So then that way there is a mathematical conversion factor there that they can apply to actually get a rough estimate as well. Not every fish is the same, so it doesn't always work out, but 9 out of 10 or 99 out of 100, it's going to be pretty accurate. So that's the most important thing. And get clear photos. Okay. So don't just take one because you think you're happy with it. Take 20 and sort through them at the end of the day, because if you don't have the clear photos, it can make things a bit tricky.
Okay, cool. I've seen you wrote a couple of articles for International Spearfishing International magazine. Is that right? Spearfishing and Freediving News, the IFSN magazine? I
didn't write them, but I know my partner Rochelle did, and a friend James Young, who does a lot of diving with us. He's written quite a few articles, and they've had a fair bit of mileage.
Yeah. I saw a few recently. Unfortunately, IFSN has now closed the doors, but I remember reading a couple of articles about some of you guys' trips. So.
Just with the record measurements, we spoke earlier with. Who was the governing body? What is their name?
IUSA.
IUSA. Now, you can gut the fish, is that right? But you've got to keep the contents in a bag and with the fish?
Well, you don't actually need to. Once you've taken the measurements, and the fish has been weighed on certified scales, you can do what you want with the fish. Okay,
Awesome.
So every country has for their own national records and that sort of stuff. If the fish needs to be checked, we're here in New Zealand. We weigh our fish in with a certified weighmaster or on certified scales. We take all the measurements they ask, which is actually more than what IUSA asked for, and then we have to keep the fish until a referee looks at it. So in reality, it's they're taking the weighmaster, who's a qualified person's. They're not giving him the benefit of the doubt that he's done his job properly.
Yep.
And so we get another guy come and take measurements and then we can do what we want with the fish. But in some cases, we've had fish that have gone to waste because we haven't had they've sat in the freezer for 2 months before we've actually had a referee look at them. And then they're only good for smoking or cat food.
So that kingfish, have you eaten it?
Yes, we have. Yeah.
How did it go?
It was fantastic. So we got some smoked and had some sashimi and the neighbourhood had a fair bit of it too. So which was even better.
I love a good kingy, but it's not popular everywhere. Sashimi, it goes very well. What's your go-to sashimi kit in the boat? How do you have soy and what do you keep wasabi on or?
Yep. So it's just simple, mate. Just cut it finely. So get your fish, like you standard kingfish, you're out for a day, get your fish, bleed it, gill and gut it, look after it best, put it on ice. You want it to set before you cut it, and then fillet it, skin it, finely slice it, and then just wasabi and soy, and you can't go wrong.
All right, that sounds good. I'm keen just to come over for some sashimi. I don't mind my tucker. So, all right, anything else with records, Turbo?
No, that's it from me.
Any other parting bit of guidance for people wanting to target some records, Nat?
Yeah, mate. Just I'll go over it again. Read the rules and have that in your kit. It's simple. You can get the rules laminated if you're just not sure. You're out there having fun with your mates, and your mate might have heard another story about what a record, how to claim a record. But if you've got them laminated, stuck in your gear kit, there's only a couple of pages of the rules. Just go that way, and as I said, take lots of photos. So because that's your memory at the end of the day.
Okay, let's change gears. We've got the next part of the show is the funniest thing. What's the funniest thing you've experienced out spearfishing? Now, keep in mind, we've had a lot of poo stories on the show. We've had turtles humping people. Oh, yeah. So our audience are used to a pretty graphic sort of story. Oh, yeah. Fire away. Okay,
so the most funny one would be we took a mate out to take photos of striped marlin at a place called the Wanganella Banks. So it's 300 odd miles off the coast of New Zealand. And his dream was to take a photo of marlin. Anyway, we happened to be going along and we found some minke whales, and we jumped in and had a swim with them, and one of the other guys on the boat decided he was going to take a dump over the side. Did his business and that we were swimming back to the boat, and my partner, she yells out to our mate Mazdak, come and look at this. There's some shitfish. There's some brown ones. There's some white ones. There's some brown and white ones. And so he's got his big camera with the big dome port on it, and he's racing along, looking through the viewfinder, trying to find these shitfish. 300 miles out to sea and 2,000 meters of water. And anyway, the two guys on the boat, they sort of clicked on what was going on, and he's looking around, and all of a sudden he gets into the mess that was left over and realises, and he's horrified, and he's just taking photos of all this crap and shit on the toilet paper and everything, and all of a sudden he realises, and one of the guys yells out, Mazdak, what's that on your head? and he had nothing. But it was just a joke, and he's there flailing around in the water, baby, trying to get rid of it. And it was a funny experience to be having 300 miles off the coast of New Zealand, and inky blue water and 2,000 metres of water. We had a chuckle over it every time we got back in the water for the next few days.
Good stuff. All right, so dive bag. What's in your dive bag? Diving round your way this time of year. What are you sort of wearing head to toe, and what's your go-to equipment?
Okay, mate. So at the moment, we've got a really cold spell over here in New Zealand. Water temperature-wise, we should be in the 20s. We're only in the sort of early 17s. Oh, wow. So we're still in 5 mil suits. right now. And yeah, 5mm booties and 3mm gloves. So it would be more pleasant in the winter because at least we'd have good viz. But yeah, the viz is crap at the moment too. So and the fish are a bit slow coming in on the coast. But running the good warm gear at this time of the year still, and swimming around with a slightly bigger gun than what you'd normally have, just because the fish that are coming in are the bigger ones still at the moment. So before school fish turn up.
All right. Yeah, right. So what gun are you running?
At the moment, I'm running a Bochet 115 carbon gun, customised, put a MBD roller head on it.
Oh yeah.
And so I enjoy the roller heads. So you can have a 1.1 metre gun and a marlin swims through and you comfortably shoot it. So, or a 40 kilo kingy, you've got no problems. But then you can go down and shoot a trevally for tea. So it's a very versatile gun and packs heaps of punch.
I'm running something similar. Are you running a 7mm shaft and on a single roller head?
No, I'm running a 7.5. So and pre-tension to about 350. Oh, when it's fully loaded, it's about 350% stretch in the rubbers. So you want something with a little bit more grunt because it's a bit more weight behind it because you get the whip action when you pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And that 8mm shafts, we run in some of our slightly bigger guns that are really grunted up with 19mm rubbers and then our big gear is I've got a 140 double roller that I made myself, running 19mm rubbers on it, 10mm shaft, and that thing would punch through side of a whale. We'll say side of a boat, eh? Shooting whales gets frowned upon over here.
Yeah, bad analogy. Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's all good. Any other sort of notable modifications you've made to equipment that you think maybe other people would be interested to learn about?
Yeah, so like I actually make all my own gear, all my own terminal tackle, all the way down to your little bungee that's connected to the end of your gun to pre-tension your line. I run all Dyneema on my gear. I don't run any nylon. You just never want that day when you haven't checked it properly and it breaks where it's going through your shaft, or you get a big kingfish get you in the bottom and just snaps that 400-pound mono off really easy. So my hard lines, I make it all myself. I know exactly what's inside it. I know how the knots are tied, and that we've had a few mishaps where gear's gone west, and good quality gear too. You've paid a lot of money for it. So now we just make all our own gear up, and at the end of the day, you just got to trust your gear.
Yeah, a lot of guys, like we've talked to a few guys that shoot really big fish, and a couple of the points that have come through have been removing points of failure and any sort of points of weakness on your gear. It sounds like you go through that with a fine-tooth comb to try and make sure you've done that. Me personally, I'm not much of a gear dude. I love to just kind of just get in and get amongst it. But if I had a bit more time, I might muck around, but it's not something that super interests me.
Yeah, sucks.
I just have to make sure I've got someone good who's got my back who'll do it for me. So
I end up handing my roller gun over to him.
And I shoot the rocks with it and look after him, so it's all good.
Give him a nice stainless steel shaft. He's the best at destroying one of those. The best.
Roller guns are really good at it too.
Yeah, they are, especially when you're not used to the range. Like even when you're right on the bottom and you're shooting laterally, it just seems like rocks just want to leap out and just jump in front of you.
Daily, make sure you're far away from the rocks. Okay, it comes up, bang, stuff spear.
Shot a rock.
Shot a rock, Dad.
Cool. Anything else for gear? Sounds like you're pretty into your gear. What fins are you running?
So I'm running Bochet composite fins, and they're really good. I've been through 4 sets of blades in the last 3 years of different sorts of fins, and I finally found a good fin now that's handling the pace that I'm putting them through. With my diving, it's what an average guy would do in 3 or 4 years. So if they get 3 or 4 years out of a set of fins, or 5 years out of a set of fins, they're very happy. But it's just having that good gear, you've got to pay a little bit more for it. As I said, I'm lucky I get my gear supplied, but with the new guy starting out, there's nothing worse than going out there and something going wrong with your gear because you haven't, you'd in the end you spend twice as much money because you have to go and buy the better gear the second time. So, it's the same with guns. It's the same with your fins. Same with your mask. Even right down to your snorkel. I've had guys that have destroyed snorkels in 2 or 3 days where they've chewed the ends off. They get too excited and chew on the end of your snorkel. So you get a good silicone snorkel and you're fine for a few years.
Today, Nat spoke about Bochet gear or Bochet gear or Bochet gear. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I've never been sure of that one. But if you're interested in any of that equipment, head to spearfishing.com.au. It's our principal sponsor, Adreno Spearfishing Supplies, and they have the full range of Bochet gear there. So go on and check them out, and don't forget to use the code NoobSpearo at checkout. All purchases over $200, you'll save yourself $20. Happy days. If you're new to spearfishing, I highly recommend listening to our episode Freediving for Spearfishing with Pete Ryder. Pete is an entrepreneur and an excellent freedive instructor, and he has come up with 2 great courses, the 10-metre freedive and the 5-minute freediver. I've used the 5-minute freediver to increase my bottom time, found it incredibly useful for my trip to the Coral Sea, and I cannot recommend it highly enough. His other course, the 10-metre freediver, is a great resource for those just starting out that literally want to get to 10 metres, and this course will help you learn proper breathing technique and some of the safety aspects associated with freediving.
Use the code NoobSpearo to save 20% on all of Pete's courses. He's put together this deal just for listeners of the show. That's at howtofreedive.com. Use the code NoobSpearo. Next part of the show, Spearo Q&A. This is more of like a faster pace sort of round of questions. But we'll start with this. Who has been the most influential person or people in your spearfishing and why?
I'd say in my spearfishing would be my partner, Rochelle. So, she'd been doing it for a few years before I met her. And she had the passion and the drive and the knowledge. She was a freedive instructor, qualified freedive instructor in New Zealand here. And those few little tips about breathing up and holding your breath and taking your time sort of has paid off.
Cool. All right. If you had to start all over again, what would you do differently?
I'd start earlier. So
yeah.
Starting spearfishing at 35 is it's sort of from other fish that I'd seen when I was diving when I was 15. I wish that I'd started earlier, and that's what I'm trying to get the younger guys into it now to come out and enjoy it.
Do you reckon you'd seen a few records in your earlier days when you weren't a Spearo?
I don't know. Honestly, don't know, mate. Yeah, they were big fish, but if they were records, it's another story, and it was cool seeing them. But it would have been really cool putting a shaft on them too. but hey, they're the memories that live with you forever.
Yeah.
So during your time spearfishing, what's the single biggest lesson you've learned?
Swim with your eyes open. Because if you swim around, breathe it, like, especially for me, if I'm breathing up with my eyes closed, generally someone goes, "Oh, did you see that fish swim through?"
Yeah.
No, I didn't. But swim with the eyes open and take your time, eh? So if you're relaxed, the fish are relaxed. So that's a lot of the time it's hard to be not excited, but when you're excited, the fish pick up on that too.
Okay. I don't know if you're going to have an answer for this, but it sounds like you dive 200 days a year. You're physically fit and healthy. Your spouse spearfishes. You're a man of leisure. But what if you've got a current challenge? What is it, and how are you approaching it?
My current challenge is pretty much just enjoying it still. Like I'm definitely still enjoying it. Don't get me wrong, but you're just trying to find that next challenge. And as I said earlier on, if you actually put those little challenges out there and it doesn't succeed, you feel like you've failed. So you've still just got to keep getting out there and having fun, and the more fun you have, the better your day is. So you've just got to keep telling yourself that if you go out to set yourself a goal in the morning and it doesn't work, well, you can feel robbed. So
yeah. All right, last question. So you've got a new guy, or maybe a guy he's in his first couple of years spearfishing. He's starting to go all right. What would be your sort of 1 to 3 pieces of advice for most Spearos sort of in that range?
Get in with the good guys, mate, because it's like most sports, the good guys are willing to talk to you. So, you might be a bit nervous in that, but if you don't just get out there and ask for something, it's hard these days to get it given to you. So just go and talk to them. You hear their names, you know who they are, you see them on Facebook everywhere, you know what they look like. There's no point whispering behind their back saying, "Oh, that's such and such." Just get out there and ask them the questions.
Yeah.
And that then when they have told you, think about it, and go over it. And then when you do get in the water, apply it. So, because there was no point asking them in the first place if you're not actually going to listen and do what they said, because everybody you talk to is going to give you one bit of advice that will help you.
Yeah, good advice.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I really like that. That's good. All right. So we'll link some things up in the show notes for you if you like, Nat. Can people find you anywhere?
Yep. So we have on Facebook. We're the Adventure Club.
Okay.
So is our little page, and that'll link you to our YouTube videos and that. So we put videos up there, but on YouTube we're the Adventure Club as well. So it's
all right.
we've got plenty of videos there for people to look at, and we do as much filming now as what we do spearfishing. So people pick up quite a bit from some of our videos, and it's not all about spearfishing. It's getting out there and just enjoying what the world has to offer.
Yeah, cool. All right, I'm going to make a New Zealand trip. I will definitely look you up at some time in the future, Nat, and I've had a fantastic time talking with you today, man.
Cool. Well, no, as I said, if either of you guys are in New Zealand, it's flights are bloody cheap. We've got heaps of beds. You can see the water out the window.
Yeah.
And about the biggest problem here is the waves might keep you awake at night. But but come over, mate, because we enjoy diving and enjoy being in the water. And if we can shoot you a fish, you put you onto a fish there that you've dreamed of. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, cool, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks for joining us today, Nat. Awesome chatting with you.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Noob Spearo podcast with Kiwi Nat Davy. He's an absolute wealth of knowledge. We hope you got something out of it. We certainly did. And big thanks to him for talking with us here at the Noob Spearo podcast. And our next episode is 54, I believe. And that is with none other than Jeremy Gamble, the owner of Spearing magazine. So Jeremy brings you that publication 5 times a year. It's an absolute cracking magazine, and we are fortunate enough to have him as a sponsor on the show as of this upcoming episode. So very, very exciting stuff. Now, Jeremy, so apologies now, but Jeremy is a huge fan, apparently, of the old episodes. So we're doing a retro episode, and we're bringing back Pirate Pete. He's back for all of you that loved Pirate Pete or hated him. Tough luck, he's back next week. And so is our amigo, our Fast 5 Facts soundbite with the Mexican and the gun thing. It's just genius, so enjoy that as well. And we're even going to do the old intro. So for those of you that love the old episodes, you are in for an absolute treat. All right. Apart from that, get onto Patreon, check out Underwater Ally and Ted Hardy at Immersion Diving. Thanks again to you guys for helping out, and to everybody that submitted pics for the book. So thank you very, very much to all of you guys that have submitted pics of the book. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next fortnight with our Jeremy Gamble episode. If you're in need of some new equipment, maybe a new gun, some fins, or anything else you can think of, check out spearfishing.com.au. That's the online store for Adreno. They have got a huge range of gear, anything you could ever think of. And not only that, if you use the code NoobSpearo at checkout, so go to checkout, it'll say enter code, put in NoobSpearo, and you'll save yourself $20 on all purchases over $200. So do yourself a favour, get on to spearfishing.com.au, save yourself some money and get some great gear. Thanks for listening to today's episode. It was an absolute cracker. I thought I was exceptional. Shrek, you're okay. So if you would like to connect with us further, get on to noobspearo.com and check out our email newsletter. It comes out once a month. It's full of the happenings and goings on around the place and some great deals on there from our sponsor, Adreno. Now, further than that, if you are a fan, need a new shirt or even just a grease rag, check out Noob Spearo's new line of shirts. So that's in our store there. And Shrek, what can they do if they want to become truly a master of spearfishing?
Yeah, look, Noob Spearo podcast is always about helping people to become better Spearos, and we have condensed and combined some of that information along with our own experience into an ebook that you can find on Amazon.com. It's called 99 Tips to Get Better at Spearfishing, the actionable information you need to improve your spearfishing. Also, guys, quick request, wherever you listen to the show, leave us a review. It helps other people find the show, and it's always good to be chatting with you. Looking forward to getting in your ears again in another fortnight.
Thanks for listening, guys, and hope you nail a big one.